You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ12. Just go to Indeed.com/PODKATZ12 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Yeah, and you should utilize those benefits.
Yeah.
They're there for you. A lot of people in the military don't realize that there's so many resources to help you in your career, your family. It's just we're so busy and we're doing so much constantly that we don't take the time to like, okay, I'm doing this for our country. What else can I do to help myself? What can I get out of this so that by the time I get out, I'm set up. I can take care of my family. Because a lot of people get out and they're homeless. They move back in with their parents. They're getting divorced. Mental health issues. You know what I'm saying? So if you're in and you're giving so much to the country, you should try to get as much as you can back out of it as well.
This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. Thank you, BetterHelp, for sponsoring this episode, but more about them later after the interview. Yo, welcome y'all to Tech is the New Black. Very excited for the guest that we're going to be talking to today. Going to be having a conversation about how he transitioned from making just about $20,000 as a Marine all the way up to 6 figures working in the tech industry. Now, this one's pretty special to me because a lot of people don't know I'm actually a veteran in the Marine Corps as well. So talking to another veteran, another fellow devil dog is pretty exciting, especially a devil dog that's also in this amazing industry that, of course, we love and we love to talk about. So gonna go ahead and give you all the breakdown of the guest. Make sure we put some respect on his name, read off his bio. Now, of course, the guest is Denzel Oden. Now, Denzel Oden has spent 5 years in the Marine Corps, both on active duty and the reserves, in order to obtain his education. Since then, he's been able to scale to over 6 figures in the tech industry as a software engineer at Lockheed Martin, which a lot of people don't know. Lockheed Martin is actually the biggest aerospace company in the world. Now, currently, Denzel spreads information on tech to get more minorities and veterans into this space where they can take control of their life. Y'all, give a virtual round of applause, emoji round of applause for our guest, Denzel Oden. Bro, how are you doing today?
I'm great, man. Thank you for having me. Semper Fi.
Yeah, bro. Yo, Semper Fi. I'm with it. So Eric, we were talking trash before we started recording because Eric, who of course is like the video director, Eric served in the Navy. A lot of people don't know that the Marine Corps is the Department of the Navy.
Yep.
Yeah, so we have kind of like this like love-hate relationship, everything.
Sometimes more hate, but no, it's all good. We all brotherhood.
Oh, no, exactly. So, bro, we were kind of talking offline. So obviously you were in the Marine Corps.
Yep.
So before we even get into you being in tech, like curious to know just a little bit more about you. Like, what was your life like before the Marine Corps? What led you to being in the Marine Corps, and kind of like what was like your MOS and all of that?
Okay, well, starting off, I'm from Detroit, Michigan.
Okay, all right. Detroit, stand up.
Yeah, right between 6 and 7 Mile, not too far from 8 Mile that everybody's used to knowing. I grew up just loving science, engineering, technology, taking toys apart, doing the usual sci-fi stuff. And eventually I decided, you know what, I want to be a programmer.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. You can't just be like, I'm gonna be a programmer.
No, that's literally how it was. Just watching movies, just messing with toys and stuff. I realized that, like, okay, I know the circuits and stuff right here, but how do these get controlled? Pretty much, you know what I'm saying? Man, and so that would make me like, okay, programming.
That's so interesting. Like, I admire, because I'm not like that. I have my gifts, but that's not me. And I admire people like you because since we've been doing this, we've talked to a handful of guests, and not even all of them have been software engineers. Because we actually, interestingly enough, even though software engineering, I always tell people, I believe software engineering is the bedrock, is the foundation of the tech industry, because you don't have anything without software engineers.
That's true.
And so despite that, we actually don't talk to enough software engineers. And what's interesting is kind of hearing like what you said, where you just being a young guy, but young black man, you were interested in how things worked. And it wasn't something anybody pushed you into. You really had and I guess that's really what's interesting, is that we don't hear about that often. We're like, okay, there's a young black guy who was interested in taking things apart, putting them back together, and was curious about how they worked. Around how old were you when it hit you that you wanted to be an engineer, software engineer?
Honestly, I was probably 11 or 12.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was very, very early. It was very early. I always had a very mature mindset. Yeah. Especially being in Detroit. I didn't even meet anybody of a different race really until I was like 13 years old. Wow. Yeah. So I got woken up to my situation pretty early, and decided, okay, this is the route I want to take.
So did you even know anyone that was already a software engineer, or like how did you even know because at that age I didn't know what a software engineer was.
Yeah, I didn't know what a software engineer was either at the time. I just knew what programming was.
Okay, yeah.
So I always thought of it as programming. Okay. I didn't know how much they made or the career field or anything like that. I just knew that this person had the capability to learn the language and then control this.
So it wasn't even about the bag. No, which a lot of people, of course, we talk about the bag a lot. So it wasn't even about the bag. It was really, you genuinely had a passion and want to do that.
I genuinely had a passion for it.
Wow. Man, that's incredible, actually. So, all right. So at 11, 12, 13, you realize, hey, I want to be a programmer, which is software engineer. Again, like many terms in tech, many are kind of interchangeable, or people like use them interchangeably, whether or not they're actually interchangeable. And, I actually ask you here just for let's get a definitive answer from someone who is programming and software engineering, is that the same thing, or are those titles truly interchangeable?
I'd say programming and software engineering are interchangeable, because you could be a software developer, and that's still software engineering, is still computer programming. I think the terms that people get mixed up sometimes is like hackers and software engineers. Oh yeah, because hackers, that's something that's the biggest mix up.
Oh wow! Yeah. So I heard this recently, and this is a straight up sidebar. This is like really curiosity right now is leading as part of the conversation. I heard this recently that depending on the title that you reference yourself as, or depending on the title the company has as a job posting, usually can lead to what they're planning on paying in terms of salary. Like I've heard some companies will post, we're looking to hire a software developer or even a programmer, and they will want to pay a little bit less than they would if they said we want to hire a software engineer. Even though they mean the same thing, it's just like engineer, from what I've heard, that word holds a certain level of prestige that developer doesn't hold.
Exactly. That's true. It's all optics. Wow. It's all optics. You can see, if you go on LinkedIn and you search computer programmer, you're going to see salaries that are a lot lower than software engineers or software developers. That's
actually it's so interesting how language, even though something is the same thing, but like how powerful language is and the perception that goes behind it, and how that can even affect like money. Very interesting. So yeah, make sure y'all learn from that. That's not just random, but make sure those of y'all that are software engineers, aspiring software engineers, developers, that you kind of peep game, and please let us know in the comments if that's something y'all have seen as well. If you agree, if you disagree, let us know down in the comments below. All right, so boom. So you wanted to be a software engineer or a programmer at the time.
Yep.
And how did the Marine Corps come about? Like, why Marine Corps, and what did you do in the Marine Corps?
So I went to college in 2011. I was 17 years old. I went to Clark Atlanta University. My parents had to pull me out of there. Just didn't have the funds to finish paying for that. So I ended up working for a few years, and I just always really, really wanted to complete college. Because at that point, I was like, you have to go to college to get the good job, to get the knowledge. You know, we know that's different now. But at the time, and so I always wanted to have that bachelor's degree, then get that master's, then that PhD. And so I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna go to the Navy.
Okay.
I guess I saw an email in my for advertisement that said they pay for the school, and I was like, I never even considered it. Yeah. So I decided to do that. I went to the recruiter station, but I have an alpha dog complex, and so
is it an alpha dog?
Alpha dog complex.
Okay, cool.
And everything that I do, and so once I found out that there's a better branch of the military, that's what I said. I was like, I gotta go.
About to swing on us. Eric standing behind the camera looking like.
Yeah, I just wanted to be the top tier. I just feel like the Marine Corps is the Knights of the Round Table, pretty much. Yeah. And so that's what kind of drew me over to the Marine Corps, and I went in through there and was able to pay for school that way.
You know, it's funny. So the reason why I did the Marine Corps, I was going to go to the Army, but an Army recruiter came to my job. I was working at this soul food restaurant. The Army recruiter came to my job, and no, not Army. It was a Marine Corps recruiter. He came to my job, and I told him, I said, I'm going to do the Army. He looked at me and said, you know what? You should join the Army. I was like, what?
Yeah, that sounds
he's like, you should. He's like, you like a pretty boy. He said, the Marine Corps ain't for pretty boys. He's like, it's for like real men, it's for animals. And of course, I knew he was playing reverse psychology, but that just still got me so mad. I am a real man. Don't try me. I'm an animal. Rah! It's like I was on 10, but obviously he duped me. I ended up doing the Marine Corps, but no. So I love it. So what was your MOS or your job in the Marine Corps?
My MOS was 0621. It was field radio operator. Now it's called transmission systems operator.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right, so field radio. All right, bet. And how did you transit? First off, I mean, really. Okay, we talked about your MOS. How much were you making when you were in the Marine Corps?
Going in, probably like a private PFC, was right around like $22,000 a year. I mean, you don't feel it at first because you know they pay for food, you got free health care and stuff like that. But then once you make that car payment, it's
Whether you're dealing with tough decisions centered around career, relationships, or anything else, therapy is the piece that keeps us connected and grounded about the things that really matter in life. So that way we can move forward with excitement and anticipation. And for everyone who's thinking of starting therapy, I personally suggest that you use BetterHelp to give you that assistance. And what I love about BetterHelp is that it's entirely online and it's designed specifically to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. So make sure you visit betterhelp.com/TNB to make sure you get 10% off your first month, and let us know how your journey in therapy is going. You know what's so wild? Yeah, when I was in the Marine Corps, I actually never even thought about how much I was making. But yeah, it does feel like you're making more than you're actually making.
It really does.
But then in retrospect, you look and you realize, when you're in the military, you're not, like you mentioned, you're not actually making really good money unless like you're a very high rank type of thing, which usually takes 10 plus years to get to like any decent rank to where you're making
or officer
money. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah, exactly. So okay, cool. So now, how did Marine Corps branch over to software engineering? Like, how did you get to software engineering from the Marine Corps?
Okay, so going into the Marine Corps, my intention was to be a programmer ADA, which was an MOS that they had at the recruiter station. Comes to find out, it doesn't exist. So I ended up being...
Wait. So at the recruiter station, they said, we have a role that you could be a programmer. And then once you got in, they were like, haha.
I got my orders and it said field radio operator, go to comm school.
That's the Marine Corps for you. Yeah. They do that.
Yes, it does.
Oh my gosh, how mad were you?
I was furious. I felt devastated because I wanted to try to stay on the same track. Yeah. And then I'm very big on knowledge. And I felt like I needed knowledge to grow so that once I got out that I could just jump right into it. But,
man, that's so disappointing how, and I think about this often, like even the recruiter that got me in the Marine Corps, aside from like that kind of joking story I told, like, I mean, like they'll lie to you or manipulate you just to have you join, knowing that that's going to be the next 4+ years of your life. Exactly. As if like your life doesn't matter. They just want to meet a quota. And it's, man, that's crazy.
And don't get me wrong, like even knowing that, I understand how the structure works a little bit more after going in. So I understand they have a quota. Structure? They have a quota to meet. Yeah. You know, they get harped on if they're not recruiting a certain amount, and it, you know, affects them, affects their families. Recruiters, especially in the Marine Corps, are always at work. You know, they spend a lot of time at work, and it does hurt the family and things like that. So I can understand when you're really just trying to not really lie to people, but just trying to look, just give it a chance, just do this. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? This might happen, this might not happen, but at least you have a chance, you know?
What do y'all think about that? I want to know from the viewers and listeners what y'all think about that. Like if you are on the side of the recruiter where you're like, okay, I kind of understand, it makes sense. Or if you think like, no, there's no real excuse or justification for that. I definitely want to know from y'all. So, okay, cool. But so how did you go from a field radio operator and get to being what you always desired, being a software engineer?
Okay, so in the Marine Corps or any military branch now, they'll pay for school 2 years after you're enlisted. Mm-hmm. So you'll get like pretty much a stipend that you can go to school every semester or quarter. So that's what I did after my first 2 years, and I enrolled online to college. So I was going to college while I was in the field, while I was deployed. I was stacking up doing classwork 4 weeks in ahead before I went to the field operations and things like that. And then once I got out, I was able to use the Montgomery GI Bill to finish off my bachelor's degree in computer science. So which is what I have right now currently.
Okay, so you use the Marine Corps, use a stipend from that to be able to become a software, or to go to school to be a software engineer. And I know that the military pays for school. Like obviously I started in the military. I didn't utilize that at all. Now, is that stipend, and just for listeners, for those that are listening and tuning in, for those that are in the military right now and are more so how I was, where they weren't really paying attention to opportunities, is that stipend the same for every single branch? Is the benefit there for every single branch?
Yes, it is. I believe it's the same for every single branch. It is now, it's tuition assistance, and now you don't have to wait that 2 years till you start using it. You can start using it from the day you go in.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I did not know that.
Yeah.
So someone who just started, let's say they just finished boot camp. So they're finished with boot camps. Obviously, you can't really do much while you're in boot camp. But boot camp's over. They can go ahead right now and start utilizing those benefits to be able to get their education, get in tech.
Yeah, and you should utilize those benefits.
Yeah.
They're there for you. A lot of people in the military don't realize that there's so many resources to help you in your career, your family. It's just we're so busy and we're doing so much constantly that we don't take the time to like, okay, I'm doing this for our country. What else can I do to help myself? What can I get out of this so that by the time I get out, you know, I'm set up. I can take care of my family. Because a lot of people get out and they're homeless. They move back in with their parents. You know, they're getting divorced. You know, mental health issues. You know what I'm saying? So if you're in and you're giving so much to the country, you should try to get as much as you can back out of it as well.
Man, that's the truth. Yeah, we definitely see a lot of veterans that are homeless or that just aren't doing well at all. Yeah. I wonder if, I kind of think through this, like I wonder if sometimes the Marine Corps, not just the Marine Corps, but the military in general, if not they don't coddle people, but I wonder if just the notion of most things being taken care of for you, that if for many people that can seem like prolonged coddling or prolonged like your parents taking care of everything for you, and then you go out to the real world where okay, you don't get to eat on base for free anymore, you don't get a stipend for clothing, or you can't just wear your uniform all the time.
Exactly.
You know, and it's like okay, you now have to pay for where you live. It's like because you no longer can live on the barracks. It's like I wonder if many people it actually hurts them more than it helps them.
That's true. You're like I said, you're doing so much, and there's so much going on that you don't even have the time to even think about that types of stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's a very big point, you know, just being in the military, coming out, being a veteran, you know, trying to make that transition work well.
Yeah, man. So good. So you made the transition work well, though. I'm happy for you that you were able to use that stipend and actually get to what it is you wanted to get to.
Yeah.
So you're a software engineer now. Now, what is one question we actually haven't talked about? Like, really, what is a software engineer? Like, what is a software engineer? What is it that you do?
Software engineering encompasses engineering, software development, the best practices to take something from an idea, a design, and then make that a reality in the software space.
Yeah.
Right? And now we're starting to see that the software space is growing more than just, your web applications, your desktop applications, your video games, appliances, things like that. It's turning into AI. It's turning into biotechnology, space, physics. It's all over
robotics.
Robotics.
Yeah,
that's a big part of it. So this software engineering space encompasses so much now. It's kind of like the tech space, like how the tech space, you have your tech sales, your software engineers, cybersecurity.
Yeah.
Just software engineering itself is a whole nother
it's not even just a job, but it's like a category. Like you be a software engineer.
It's like its own field, kind of.
So is someone that's a software engineer for AI? So particularly, and really this is a genuine question. Like, so someone who is a software engineer for, let's say, robotics, they might have a different skill set or know a different programming language than a software engineer that's engineering just, I wasn't say AI, but not even AI, but something just like, let's say somebody's just like just a software or a SaaS company or something like that. So how do they differ in their roles?
They differ and they don't differ.
Okay.
Right. So for instance, at my last position, I was the only software engineer at that company.
The only software engineer?
There was no software engineers. I was a temp. And once I got my bachelor's degree, I went around. I found a robot in the warehouse floor. It was dusty. They tried to program it, but there's a Python book that I literally, blew out the dust. I was like, okay, there's Python in here. So I found the president. As a president, y'all need software engineers. Y'all went to the CEO, you need software engineers. I went to the engineering team, and then eventually they brought me on as a software engineer to automate the warehouse.
So when you say engineering team, you're speaking about the engineers that like physically
mechanical engineers.
Okay,
R&D.
Cool. I wanted to clear because I didn't want anybody to be like, you said there was no engineers there. And it's like, okay. So they were mechanical engineers, but they didn't have any software engineers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so just seeing that, that was my first robotics introduction, and I saw there's Python in there. Python's also used for artificial intelligence, machine learning. So you could be a web developer, still use Python for web applications, through things like Django, Flask, things like that. You could use Python for automation of PLC programming, things like that. So you can know a language and use it in one field, use that same language in another field. You can use tools from one field in another field. It's just what company decides to, okay, this is the best use for us, our use case, and this other language or this other tool is the best use for this use case, right? And sometimes it just depends on history as well, because technology is always growing, it's always advancing. Some companies use C++, even though that now there's other languages that are a better fit for that software, but because their whole infrastructure is built on that, they just hire people on and kind of try to develop that and keep that going.
Yeah.
Hey, what's good? I'm Eric Bates, video producer and strategist here at Tech is the New Black. And if you're interested in what our guest is talking about and want to do data analytics, software development, or cybersecurity, we need you to go ahead and check out Pivot Tech. They're a highly awarded virtual tech bootcamp that offers mentorship and career placement. And we've partnered with them to offer our audience a discount of up to $300 off. That's right, $300. So use the referral code Tech is the New Black and keep us posted on your journey.
All right, so I want to do this because something that we haven't done before, because one of the things I love about our audience and our community is that it's very broad. We have community of people that are way more technical than even I am. They understand things, and many times they'll even correct me on things that are technical. And that's, again, the whole purpose of Tech is the New Black. The whole purpose of this platform is for me to interview guests and have guests on that know things that I don't know. So that way I'm not a gatekeeper. That way I'm having real conversations with people in the industry that are able to kind of break things down from a different angle that I'm limited in my knowledge of. Okay. And so that's why we have wonderful guests like yourself on. Now, we also have a community of people that are just now learning what they're like. People literally ask me sometimes, what is tech? Yeah. Just a question as simple as that. And I love our community, how broad it is. Yo, definitely. Yeah. And I use it heavily. I say tech. Everything I put is tech. But that being said, what are programming languages? Like, because people hear, okay, programming languages, C++, Python, Java, JavaScript. Like, what is that exactly?
Okay, my best explanation of this is when it comes to software engineering, software development, there's two very important aspects to this. One is logic, just understanding logic. If this happens, then this is happening. Okay. If this is true, then this is false. So that's just basic logic. And then you have the programming languages, Python, C++, Java. These languages are like spoken language. It's like English, it's like Spanish, it's like Italian. You learn a language, you learn how to speak that language, and then you use it to complete a task. If I know English and I'm trying to teach a class or even do a podcast, I know the certain way that I need to speak, the certain way, words that I need to use, or how to articulate certain things. It's the exact same thing if I was using Python to program a robot to automate a warehouse. Mm-hmm. I know how to use it, I know how to manipulate it, and I just speak that language.
So why are there, and this is actually a real question for me, why are there different languages? Like, why is there not just C++? Because I see developers saying, oh, like I do things in this language, or I do things in that language. Why have there even been other languages? And I see people saying that a certain language is like a certain programming language is superior to another. And I know Python is ridiculously popular, and that's usually the main one I see people talking about as if it's superior above everything else. But why, after the first programming language was created, like why were other languages created? Why not just have one language and program and create things off that one language?
Well, one is because technology is always changing. Okay. So a language that was used for...
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ12. Just go to Indeed.com/PODKATZ12 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Just go to Indeed.com/PODKATZ13 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
To help create the internet from DARPA, is it going to be used today to for artificial intelligence or machine learning for something like ChatGPT, right? And so language is always changing, just like technology is always changing. Python is actually an old language. I mean, it's relatively new compared to some languages, but this is before 2000s that this language was created.
I didn't know Python was that old. That's crazy.
Yeah. So it just keeps getting developed. It gets better and better. And if you use something like C++, this might be good for, time on this type of program where it runs faster or it processes faster. But if I'm trying to do web scraping or like just automate something really fast, like sending out automated emails, I might want to use Python.
So, all right, so I'm listening to this, and let me ask you this. Tell me if I'm crazy or if this makes sense. So the way I'm thinking of this, as you're explaining, you're doing a really good job explaining this. The way I'm kind of thinking about it is that there's there's a person, like let's say there's a person that's bilingual. I live in Miami now, and there are a lot of people that are bilingual. And everybody keeps telling me I need to learn Spanish. I'm going to have to learn at some point. But I low-key think there's about to be some technology that's going to come out to where you'll be able to know everybody's language. Everybody can understand each other. So that's why I don't want to... That's my lazy excuse for not learning Spanish. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. But anyway, so the way I'm thinking about it is, okay, someone who's bilingual or trilingual, and they are trying to explain something, but then they realize there's not a word for that in English.
That's true. Yeah.
So then because of that, they're like, okay, I have to use this other word to explain this to you in order to get my point across. And sometimes you'll see someone who, like, you know, Eric's wife, she's Dominican, and I don't even know why I brought that up. Soy Dominican. And what'd you say? Soy Dominicano también. Don't call me Poppy, Eric. I'm not playing. We keep saying we need to get Eric a mic, but we'll probably be cutting up too much during the interviews. So let us know, y'all, in the comments if y'all think we should give Eric a mic and stuff, or if y'all ready for that cutting up. So, but no, so the way that I'm kind of thinking about it is, so a person trying to use language where maybe they're talking to another person that's bilingual, and they'll be, and I've seen it, you know, I'm sure you've seen it as well, where they'll be speaking English and then they'll flip over to Spanish, or they'll be speaking Spanglish because they realize, okay, I don't know that word in English, or I don't know that word in Spanish, so I'll have to jump languages to get the point across. Yep, would you say that there's like some similarity in that, where it's like, okay, a person might be doing something in C++ or C++, and then they'll realize, this is a bit complicated doing it in this language, so I might need to use a different programming language.
That's exactly what it is. Some languages are built specifically for a specific task. Yeah. Also, like MATLAB, that's used for math, plotting graphs, data analytics, things like that. So that's built out for those tasks. You know, my wife, she's Chamorro from Guam, so she throws out words every now and then that I've never heard of, but she speaks perfect English, but she throws out the words because that's just the best way to explain what it is she's trying to convey at that moment. So, yeah.
Wow, that's incredible, man. Bro, I truly appreciate that, because what's interesting is that being in this industry, there's so much about this industry. Just like you mentioned, just even as a software engineer, there's so many variations of being a software engineer. I think more often than not, I find myself not having a lot of the conversations that I even want to have to educate myself. So I hope hearing that was beneficial for the audience, for those of y'all listening and watching, as beneficial as that was for me. So thank you so much for explaining that. So you're a software engineer. Money-wise, what was that like transitioning from the Marine Corps to being a software engineer? And how long have you been a software engineer now?
I've been a software engineer now for about 3 or 4 years. Okay. That transition, it was a big transition for me. Starting off, I did other jobs in between being a Marine and a software engineer just to get me to that point. But once I arrived and realized just the financial income that I could get in this industry, especially being in tech, because you could be a software engineer and not be in tech as well.
Oh, yeah, exactly, right? Yeah.
But being in the tech field, like 6 figures is barely scratching. Yeah. Like it's barely scratching the surface of being a software engineer.
I'm so happy you said that, kind of rewinding back to that point you said, and I want to double down on that. So again, so you can be a software engineer but not be at a tech company.
Exactly.
Yes. So I was at an event, and it was actually in DC, and it was a event hosted by Amazon, and there was someone there, and she was arguing like why she was arguing like not working in tech. And it was the weirdest thing. Like, why are you at a tech event and you work in tech and you're trying to like talk like down on working in tech? But we were having a conversation about how she was saying she's not paid that much. And then we were talking, and then she revealed she doesn't even work at a tech company. She does a tech job, but not at a tech company. So can you explain to people, again, double down on, okay, what that is, to be like, okay, you could do a tech job at a non-tech company, and the difference between doing a tech job at a tech company versus a non-tech company.
Exactly. So like, for instance, you could be a software engineer or in cybersecurity, but be working at a school district. Okay. Right? Protecting the kids, the infrastructure, personal information, things like that. Yeah. That's not a tech company. That's more of even government jobs. Yeah. You know, those are not tech companies, but they still have software engineers, cybersecurity, data analysts, things of that nature. Now, when it comes to that comparison between working at a tech company and not working at a tech company, depending on where you are, you can still easily make six figures.
Yeah.
It's because it's still a tech job.
Yeah.
Tech jobs in itself holds a certain amount of prestige. Mm-hmm. And then tech jobs within the tech industry is just a bonus.
Yeah.
A big bonus.
Yeah.
But it's a bonus.
Yeah. So you would say, and I believe this, but you would say that someone who's doing a tech job, as we know, we talk about this all the time, doing a tech job in general, you're typically going to be paid more than the vast majority of other jobs that exist. But doing a tech job at a tech company is significantly different, even in terms of like pay and benefits and things like that.
That's exactly the best way to put it.
So I've only worked at tech companies, and so that's why usually when I talk about tech, and more often than not, man, it's so good that you're talking about this, because sometimes I'll see people in my comments where they're like, I work in tech, or I've been in tech for 5 years, 10 years, and I'm barely making 100,000, or I don't get all these benefits and stuff. And it's perfect that we're having this conversation with you being someone that's worked at non-tech companies and tech companies, or you have experience in both. Would you say that the culture, the things that I talk about, or we talk about on Tech is the New Black, would you say that the culture, the experience of working a tech job is also significantly different working at a tech company versus a non-tech company?
Yes, it is significantly different, especially because the tech industry is on such a big boom right now that the culture is harped on. The employees, their work-life balance is taken into great consideration. Being a minority in the tech company is going to be way different than being a minority working at the Department of Defense or at a school district, or something like that. You are held in a higher regard, a higher esteem. They need you a lot more than some other companies will probably need you, because you're not a focus there. But at a tech company, you are the focus.
Yeah. Man, I genuinely appreciate this conversation so much. Oftentimes I see people in my comments, and I've made the mistake of not addressing this enough, where I'll see people in my comments that'll say, hey, I work in healthcare. Is there a way I could do a tech job at a healthcare company? Or I'm a teacher. Is there a way I could do tech, for a school? And I'll say, hey, yeah, there are. You can use your transferable skills, and you can do a boot camp or education, whatever, and you can stay working at a school or stay working in healthcare and still be tech. And I say that, but what I don't address is, hey, all these benefits and perks and the culture and the pay, this might not, more than likely won't be the same if you're not in a tech company. Like,
that is true.
If you're doing a tech job, and that's why I'm so appreciative of this, because I want to make sure that I'm doing a better job and make sure that people see this and are educated about this. Because again, I try not to sell no pipe dreams. I don't want somebody to like spend time, effort, and money to get a tech job, but they're doing it in an industry that they're very comfortable in.
Exactly.
But now they're not receiving the benefits and the perks and the pay that it is that we typically talk about.
That's why this is important, this type of environment, this type of knowledge being given out to people, because people got to realize, especially if you're in tech, you are a commodity. They need you. That's why in the tech industry, the benefit packages, the compensation, the bonus, the stock options, that's why all those are available, because they want you to stay. They need you in order to make money. Yeah. Right. So people have to realize what their own power is. Right. You have power when you're doing interviews and applying at these types of companies.
Hey y'all, we have some incredible news that I'm super excited about to finally announce our private tech community. Yes, you heard that right. A private tech community exclusively for you all who want more than just the podcast. You want more than just the FAQs. You want to talk with tech recruiters. You want to talk with hiring managers. You want to talk with coaches. You want to talk with people that can help with editing and rewriting your resume. Maybe you're somebody where you just want to be a part of a community where we're talking about updates of what's happening in the software industry. Y'all, this community that we've launched is also going to involve a Discord where we're going to be talking about updates in tech. We're going to be talking about companies that are hiring. We're going to be talking about upcoming tech events. So that way you don't have to miss any of the gems that I know, but not even just what I know, but the gems that friends of mine that are also in the tech industry know as well. So if you want to be a part of that community, go ahead and sign up so that way you can join us. We have a few different tiers. Ultimately, it's all tuned in for you. Oh, and last thing, also within this community, we're going to be streaming all of our interviews with our podcast guests. So instead of you having to wait months to watch the videos later on, you will actually be able to watch the interviews in real time and ask your live questions to those guests. So make sure you join our tech community. Man, thanks so much. I really appreciate this conversation. And hopefully this is a blessing y'all as well. Man, I love like topics and conversations like this, just thinking about how much this will like kind of help our audience and even like makes me shift like how I address things. So thank you so much for that. Now, so making six figures in tech today, what would you say is the best route to either getting in tech or even just really being a software engineer? Like what direction would you encourage someone to go in?
Depending on the field, unless it's a very specialized field, if you're trying to be a software engineer, do tech sales, sales engineer, or cybersecurity, I would say either go into a boot camp and go that route, or especially for software engineers, learn yourself. You don't need a bachelor's degree to be a software engineer. You don't even need a boot camp to be a software engineer. Yeah. There are 13-year-olds who have taught themselves Java and C++, C Sharp, and graduated high school at 17 and went straight into working at a tech company.
Man, see, that wasn't me. And when I was 13, I wasn't learning C++. I was trying to get a C+. No, that's impressive. I really respect people like yourself. They were man, I was really struggling to get a C+. Y'all was learning C++.
His dedication.
Struggle. For real. Let's struggle. No, so all right, so, yeah, and I believe that wholeheartedly. So you're saying that boot camps are beneficial, but you're like, yo, if you're the type of person where you're good at being a self study or self starter, all that good stuff, that you would just encourage maybe YouTube, Google, just things, and kind of like
there's free courses out there also. You could like Coursera. There's resources like levels.fyi, which is a website that you can go on to check packages for companies, full packages, their stock options, how much people usually get paid depending on geographic location, working at Facebook. A lot of these entry-level positions, people don't realize, out of college or even without a bachelor's degree, 180.
Woo! Yeah. 180 as a software engineer? Entry level? Sheesh, Eric, like, hold up, I'm rethinking this whole tech sales thing. Yeah. Man, that's incredible. Wow, 180, that's freaking phenomenal.
We're living in an age where people are starting to understand that, okay, knowledge is power, but knowledge is also the most valuable resource. Yeah. Right?
It really is.
Not the degree, but the knowledge. Because you can go to college, do 4 years, and you don't know much.
That's so long. I know people that have gone to college, they spent 4 years, they're in heavy debt, and they went to college for something in tech, and they still aren't able to get jobs in tech, which is like so strange to me.
Because that Hello World application you created in your programming class
is outdated.
It's outdated. It's not going to help at this point.
That freaking sucks. Oh man, but again, that's the whole purpose of Tech is the New Black, so we can have guests like yourself that are educating people on this. Because I'm, like you mentioned, I'm very pro knowledge, pro education, even if it is college. I'm for it, but it's like, yo, if you're getting this education and this knowledge for the sake of a bag, you don't have to waste a huge bag to get it and waste 4 years of your life and all of that, especially if the information that you're learning is going to be outdated, because the tech industry is constantly updating and advancing. So, all right, you touched on some of the resources and things that people can do to be able to get into the tech industry. What are some things someone can do to maximize that salary, to get something closer to like that 180 entry level as a software engineer?
First off, utilize LinkedIn. Yes. That's probably the biggest thing. Utilize LinkedIn. I know it costs, but pay for that premium. Get those analytics. Oh, yeah. It will tell you how you compare to other people. Right? Find somebody who's already at the company, send them a message, talk to them, ask what they went through to get in, and how you could better maximize your own self so that when you talk to that recruiter, you look more favorably upon them, right? Maximizing your resume to fit the job description. A lot of people try to take their bullet points and add and remove words and try to reword things in weird ways. but actually take the time out to really think about, like, there might have been something that you done at your last position that you never even thought would apply to this current bullet. You know what I'm saying? And using those types of resources, talking to people who's already at the company, making use of LinkedIn and those analytics is going to be the three very big things that's going to maximize your income.
All right, so we have to talk about this. AI.
Right.
Now, you touched on it earlier. Obviously, there are software engineers that are programming AI. So I have two different questions, actually. So the first one is, have you heard about, and I've only heard about this, so I don't know like how true this is, but I've heard that there are tech companies that are paying AI prompters, people that don't even know how to like engineer or program, but they're really good when it comes to prompting or giving commands to AI, and they know how to kind of like manipulate it in the right way for it to produce certain results. I heard that some companies are paying people $350,000 that don't even have any experience at all. So one, have you heard of that? How true would you say that that might be? And then two, and we kind of follow up with this, where do we see software engineering in the near or foreseeable future with AI and the AI boom that we're in right now?
Okay, I have heard of this. I haven't heard of what the salary is, but it wouldn't be out the realm of possibility for it to reach that much, especially if these people are engineers in some respect. But yes, that is an actual thing that companies are starting to do, because you have to realize that artificial intelligence, machine learning, like it needs to learn. Yeah. It needs trial and error. It needs people to look at the results and like, okay, let's tweak it and let's try to make it a little bit better. Yeah. Especially with machine learning, usually if you're giving something a set of data and you're like, okay, learn that you could give a artificial intelligence machine learning a bunch of pictures of cats and then a few pictures of dogs, but you want it to only pick out the dogs. You train it, it gets it 50% right. You change some things, try it again. Now it's 60% right. Now you keep going until you get it to that 98%. Yeah. That takes a person to tell it like, you were wrong this time. Let's try again. Yeah. Right?
I think the term is because the first tech company I worked at, we had a AI solution, and we literally integrated it right before I left the company. And I was actually really excited about demoing it. I only had the opportunity to demo it as a sales engineer a couple times. And the term that they kept using was AI parenting, where it's like you have to parent the AI, because the AI is still like a child, where it's really smart, but it's like a child where you have to guide it so it can get smart in the right things in the right direction.
Exactly. That's a big part of artificial intelligence and machine learning. It still takes that human aspect to get it to a point to where it's like, okay, now it's right all the time. Yeah. Right.
So all right. So theoretically, in your opinion, how long do you think it would take before artificial intelligence there's a term for it. I can't remember the name of the term, but there's a term where it's like basically artificial intelligence is so intelligent where it's almost like it's reached a point to where it almost doesn't need us or doesn't need like parenting. So one, how long in your opinion, and this is all theoretical, y'all, by the way, but how long do you believe is going to take before AI does reach that point, or we get AI to that point? And also, what do you think is the threat, risk, or even benefit when it comes to AI and the software engineering space?
One term that you could use is sentient. I believe that's where it's constantly thinking on its own. Like it needs no human input whatsoever. It could think, act on its own. Honestly, probably 3-4 years. I would say.
That's a lot faster than I thought you were going to say.
I know. There's so many companies. There's so many governments putting so much money into this.
Effort into it.
Right. They're like just having a capability, even just on the actual engineering and the hardware side. There's so much growth. Yeah. Right. There's a quantum computer that was just not debuted, but tested out a few weeks ago. Right. That does calculations like super snappy. Yeah. Right. So technology is growing at such a huge and fast pace that it's ridiculous.
And right? I believe it too, because every week I follow channels on YouTube where every week I watch AI updates and all the news of what happened last week with new AI and new companies and everything. I mean, even like now, so I'm a co-founder of Octoply AI, and even what we're able to do in the weekly updates of what we're able to do every week when we meet with our engineers, I'm like, whoa, like this is freaking crazy.
Exactly.
And so, man, and so I believe it. 3-4 years, even though my knee-jerk reaction is like, whoa, that sounds so fast. It's like realistically, I think about it, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. Because every week there are heavy updates of what's happening right now. Now, how do you believe this in the foreseeable future is going to affect software engineering?
Software engineering, I think it's going to get faster.
Yeah.
I think it's going to get more robust. We're going to be able to develop applications and solutions a lot faster than ever before, which is going to also help the artificial intelligence machine learning side, where that's going to start to develop a lot faster also.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a give and take between both, right?
Yeah.
Federal regulations are going to change. Laws are going to be created to help manage and put some oversight over this, right?
Yeah.
Especially with how everybody's feeling about the AI boom that's going on currently, right? And you're going to see AI and machine learning in places that you never thought you would see it before, right? You're going to be in a parking garage. Your car is going to be parking itself in different areas depending on traffic flow, things like that. It might apply to actual traffic lights and things like that, where traffic is heavier over here. Artificial intelligence is like, okay, let's slow down traffic this way, speed it up over here. Right? It's almost everywhere already. Like it's being used so many places. Even ChatGPT, I could tell ChatGPT to write a script that web scrapes meat prices from Costco.com and puts it into an Excel worksheet, and they'll do it.
Yeah.
Just that fast. So
I have the Bard app on my phone, and I use it very frequently. And I was at a tech conference recently. While I was at the conference, I was hosting, and so I was like, oh, I gotta be funny. Like, I'm the host, I gotta be funny. And I was like, okay, I need some jokes. So I was literally telling Bard, I said, hey Bard, give me a joke I said, I'm a host at a tech conference. I was like, it's a tech conference that's predominantly black people are here. I said, give me a joke about black people at a tech conference. And it spit out a joke. And it was a very original joke. And I went up on stage, told the joke. And then when it was time for me to go up again, I said, okay, give me another one. And it gave me another one. I kept saying, give me another one. It kept giving me new ones. And I was like, man, this joke is crazy. I said, got me up here looking like I'm Dave Chappelle or something. No, I wasn't. Looking like Donald Chaplin.
But yeah.
Man. Bro, this has been man, I love this episode so much. Man, you really gave information and insight on things that I was actually very curious about, and things that I realized, man, we don't talk about these things enough with our audience. So we don't talk about some of these things at all with our audience. Man, as we're wrapping up, man, please, anything you want to share with our audience you think would be beneficial that you haven't had the opportunity to share yet?
Yes, use resources. Like, there's so many resources out there that you could take advantage of, especially for my veterans and my other minorities. And I say minorities not to weed anybody out, but just because we're a little underserved in that area, and we need the resources so that we can help ourselves and our own families. Levels.fyi, the website to see packages, to see salaries and jobs in the tech industry. LinkedIn, please use LinkedIn.
Yes.
Use LinkedIn, right? Even if it's just to learn from other people, use LinkedIn, right? And for my military veterans, use the resources that the military gives you, right? For mental health, for education, right? Even if you don't want to use it, you can pass it on to your family.
Yeah.
Right? And help them and let their lives become a little bit better.
Yeah.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ12. Just go to Indeed.com/PODKATZ12 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need. You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.